Last year, I promised to release Skate King. Unfortunately, that turned out to be a lie. Well, to be fair, I didn't manage to get the game content complete, in the sense that I added everything I wanted to for this iteration of the game. Stuff like a more interesting title screen background, character customization, and a refactored leaderboard, and just overall better and improved user experience.
One, go.
Skate King is a very simple game at its core, so these features aren't grand or complex. It just adds a nice extra layer that hopefully makes the game more memorable. Skate King has always been inspired by those early 2000 Flash games. Those games themselves were also quite simple, but the features were simple and fun to play around with during computer class, for example, when the teachers wasn't looking. So, let's talk about it. Any software's UX is all about the quality of the experience the user has when interacting with the product. In respect to a game like Skate King, the user is actually you, the player. To help guide me achieve a good level of player experience in Skate King, I created 3 design pillars in terms of UX, and they were intuitiveness, responsiveness, and flow, meaning that the player can instinctively navigate the game and its menus. You can see how I follow these guidelines in places like user input. When the player interacts with an UI element, they get some visual feedback like color or size change, and some audio feedback like a click or hover sound effect. One big change I did to improve UX was just to get rid of the mouse. In terms of gameplay, the mouse has no function, and the menus already had full gamepad support, even at the earliest Game Jam version of Skate King. So having to deal with an additional redundant input device can make the responsiveness of the game feel worse. And in terms of UX, if we teach the player that this is a gamepad only game already from the first menu, the rest of the game becomes more intuitive. To invoke that feeling of those early Flash games, I want as few barriers between the player and the actual gameplay as possible. Essentially, once you start the game, you should already be playing the game. However, I also want the game to have some level of ceremony. And because Skate King doesn't use account validations, I do need the player to choose an alias to add to the leaderboard in case they place on it. The first thing you'll ever do once opening Skate King is inputting your username. Once that has been added, the player doesn't have to think about that ever again. And then the music kicks off and they're humbly introduced to the title screen. From this hub, anything the player will need is easily accessible. They can check the leaderboard and see the position on it, customize the character, play with the setting, see how to play the game, or just skip all those side dishes and press the already highlighted play button and sink their teeth into the main entree, the actual real meat of the game, the gameplay. In a game like Skate King, that's all about showing off. I always wanted there to be some level of player expression through customization. Again, Skate King is quite a simple game that doesn't take itself too seriously, so I try to keep the things you could customize and the menu itself very simple and intuitive. So I decided on 4 areas that you could customize on your character. Obviously your crown, but also your skateboard and the wheels and character color. In this iteration of the game, there are 15 options per customization category, but this is something I could see myself jump back to in the future whenever I had a spare hour where I could get a new cool hat or something like that. One thing of note is that since Skate King is a competitive game by the nature of it having a leaderboard, I made sure that all the customizations were vanity only, in the sense that they have no gameplay effect. It's purely just for player expression. A few things I really wish I had time to add was accessories like sunglasses or a scepter and a cape, so it really could feel like your true Skate King royalty. Even different types of trail effects when you make a cool trick would also have been very cool, but since I'm already a calendar year late to release the game, that won't happen in this time frame. Well, maybe I'll just have to save that for another project, or perhaps Skate King 2. The game is technically content complete right now, so in theory I could upload as it is and that will be more or less my envisioned Skate King experience, but that will be irresponsible as a developer as I haven't done enough QA passes to ensure there aren't any minor or game breaking bugs and that the game isn't just a piece of malware that will accidentally break your PC.